Hey guys, welcome to another video. In this video we'll be mounting a TV wall mount to a wall. Alrighty, this is the TV wall mount that we'll be using to mount the TV to the wall. Now we'll be mounting this wall mount to a stud behind a plasterboard wall. Okay, we're going to need some tools. First on the list we're going to need a stud finder. Second we're going to need a measuring tape. Next on the list is some drills. We're also going to need a level. Next on the list, a cordless drill. Now we're also going to need a socket set, one Phillips screwdriver, and finally just one pencil. Right, there you have it. So basically that's everything we're going to need to carry out this job. Okay, well let's go inside and make a start. Now I found a location where I want to mount the TV in this room, and that's just in this top corner here. Now behind this plasterboard we have timber studs. Now they run from the top to the bottom of the wall, and I've got what are known as dwangs. They're just bits of timber that tie the studs together. Now I'm going to include a photo so you can see the studs and dwangs in this room. Now this photo was taken of an earlier renovation when I replaced some of the studs that were a bit bowed. Now ideally you want to screw your TV mount into solid timber, and I wouldn't recommend just mounting a TV mount to plasterboard alone, for example just using toggle screws. Now plasterboard's quite a weak product. You can actually kick or punch a hole in it quite easily, so I wouldn't trust the weight of a TV on it, to be quite honest. Now another option is using a combination of coach screws and toggle screws so that you're screwing into the timber stud and into the plasterboard itself. Okay, we'll make a start. We'll grab a stud finder and we'll also grab one pencil here. And we'll work out where the stud and dwang is in the wall. Okay, we're just going to take our stud finder. We're just going to start at this end of the wall and slowly move along until we find a stud. So that's saying that's where the stud center is. So I'm just going to mark there, and I'm going to run along again and just get both edges. So it's saying we've got an edge there. That's where it's saying the center is, so I'll just mark that again. Okay, and that's where the other edge is. Now I'm just going to take the stud finder and just run down the wall, and I'm just going to see if I can locate that dwang in the wall. Okay, so about there. Now I've worked out I want the top of the TV about 250 millimeters away from the ceiling, so I'm just going to measure that out. So that's roughly the top of the TV there. Now the next step is just taking a look at our TV mount so that we can work out where to put it on the wall. So we'll just unbox it. Okay, these are the brackets that mount to the back of the TV. And this here is our wall mount. Now what I'll do next is just mount the two brackets to the back of the TV, and then we can work out what height to set our wall mount at. With the brackets mounted to the TV, the next step is to take the wall mount and position onto the brackets, and position it as if the weight of the TV is on the wall mount itself. Now what we'll do next is just take a measurement from the top of the TV to the top of the back bracket of the wall mount. which is bolted against the wall. Now I find the easiest way to get a measurement from the top of the TV to the top of the rear bracket of your TV wall mount is just to have the TV flush against the wall. Now one thing to note is if your TV is against a skirting board, you'll just need to take that thickness of the skirting board into consideration and then just minus that thickness of the distance from the wall to the TV bracket itself. So I've already measured the thickness of the skirting board and that came in at 10 millimeters. Now we'll just measure the wall distance to the top of this rear bracket here, which is 210 millimeters, and if we minus our thickness of our skirting board, that'll bring us to 200 millimeters. Now what I want to do next is just take a measurement of 200 millimeters from where the top of the TV will sit to the top of the rear bracket on the TV wall mount. So we'll mark that out and we'll see where this wall mount will sit on the wall. Now I've made a mark here where the top of the rear bracket will sit on the wall. What I need to do now is just measure out where the center of the stud is in relation to that mark. Now that we've marked the center of the stud here and the top of the back plate of the TV wall mount, it's time to fit our wall mount. So the wall mount's going to sit against the wall like that. Now just to make things a little bit easier mounting this to the wall, I'm just going to remove the rear bracket of the TV mount. This is the bracket that is mounted to the wall itself. Okay, now that we've removed this rear bracket from the TV mount, we can look at fitting it to the wall. Now if we take a look on the wall itself, we've got the top line here that I've marked out. This is where we want the top of the bracket to sit. We've got the center line of the stud. Now you may recall we put a marking on the wall for the dwang. Unfortunately the dwang won't be useful in this case. An ideal situation is to screw both into the dwang and into the stud. However, this won't work as it's not where I can mount the bracket. Now ideally you want the two screws that are screwed into the stud as close to the center of your bracket as possible. So I'm going to use these middle holes here to screw our bolts through. However, you could have the mount mounted like that as well, so that you're screwing into these holes here. If you're having your mount mounted like that, that's probably a little bit too far out. Just keeping in mind that we've got nothing on this side structurally to screw into. Now in my case, I'm going to have the middle of the bracket lined up with the middle of the stud. That way I can put two coach screws through these middle holes here. And I'm actually thinking I might, just on these top side holes here, just put toggle bolts through, and that way we'll have a bit more clamping force. Right, so we'll just start getting this bracket ready for mounting. We'll just take our bracket, line it up with the line we made earlier, and we're just going to take a level and we're just going to level it out. Once that's been done, we're just going to draw a line on the inside of our bracket holes that we're going to be mounting our bolts through. Okay, and what we're going to do next is just drill two pilot holes for the coach screws and also two holes for the toggle bolts. Just one thing to keep in mind is just do a bit of research to find out what's behind your wall before you drill into it, just in case there's water pipe, electrical or gas running behind the plasterboard. You don't want to drill into that. And just another thing to note, just make sure the diameter of your drill is actually smaller than the coach screws that you're going to use. Okay, well, we'll make a start. Right, these are the spring toggle bolts we're going to use. 3/16 size. We'll just open them up and just take a quick look. Now to fit these toggles through, I just need to drill a hole big enough for the toggles to fit through. Unfortunately, the biggest drill I have is 10mm, so I might just have to space it out a bit once we've drilled the hole. Alright, so we've got our pilot holes here ready for our coach screws. Coach screws will go directly into the timber studs, and just on the outside here we've got holes ready for our toggle bolts. Okay, well let's get this TV mount mounted to the wall. Now the first thing I'm going to do is just get these toggle bolts ready, and I'm just going to use washers because the bolt size is actually smaller than the mounting hole. Then we'll just take our toggle, and now we'll fit these coach screws. Right, so the bracket's fitted to the wall. We'll just get the rest of the mount fitted to the bracket, and then we can mount the TV. Okay guys, we've successfully mounted a TV mount to the wall. Hopefully you've learnt something by watching this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.